right, everybody, and welcome back. Oh, I apologize. All right, everybody, and welcome back. We are going to go ahead and get started on the second episode here. During the last episode, the party got into Chernau and participated in a festival in order to welcome into adulthood one of the daughters of the town's leader. And they also had some conversations over drinks with the town's head of the guard. After doing so, two of the party members went ahead and they investigated a local spring in which they were interested in fishing. However, in doing so, they found that there was a large symbol, a large graffiti symbol, which they had previously been led to believe was something that was just a kid's prank, but they don't think it is. They think it's something a little bit more. And we're going to go ahead and get back into it right there.
Yeah, the reactive and what's on Roll20 are swapped.
The what's?
Galen and Fenris's things on Roll20 and reactive are swapped. That's all.
It's nothing. It's just...
Oh, the positioning on the thing. Okay, I see what you're saying.
My brain just switched their places like 3 times, and I'm like, wait, what's going on? Am I losing
better?
my mind?
Is that better?
Yes.
Does that make the brains happy?
It as much as it can be.
As happy as the brain can be at this moment.
All right, so we are in session 1.5. Last we had left off, Traz and Skari had just noticed a disconcerting bit of graffiti on the walls, and you had done a series of checks, which you rolled amazingly to determine what the effect of the not effect, but what the symbol might have been. All right, and I still recorded those down here, and you don't recognize the symbol at all.
Even with those rolls, that's scary.
Let me rephrase this. You recognize specifically that this is not a symbol related to any of those subjects.
Okay. It's outside of my...
Whatever this is either a local thing or something that you have no knowledge of.
Okay. Skari's going to, reach out the best you can and, try to rub it and, I want to use my alchemy skills to try to figure out what it is that they use to place the mark, if it wasn't put there magically.
Okay. Well, the first thing that's going to happen when you go up to rub it is nothing's going to happen. There's no reaction whatsoever. Just stays there. Might as well have just been an actual thing in the rock. Go ahead and roll me a craft alchemy check.
Be a 30.
Wow!
Are you sure you're level 1?
That was a good roll on top of the good alchemy.
Really good for me.
All right. I'm sorry, what was your knowledge religion check that you made? Or did you not make a religion?
I do not have religion.
Okay. I was going to say, I knew you either did arcane or religion. I just did knowledge here.
I did arcane, history, and planes.
Yeah, history. Well, planes might give it. Because you rolled a 20-something in planes.
21.
It might be a crude representation of Iomede's holy symbol. Because Iomede's holy symbol is just a white broadsword painted down. And the more you look at it, the more you're realizing that the downward thing is specifically designed to be either spiked or bladed or something. So that's one of those even you're not confident in that as an answer, but it does point out it might be a thing.
It could be a thing.
And what was your alchemy check? I'm sorry.
30.
This is 100% alchemical. And pretty impressive alchemy. This is professionally made dye, and the way that the dye works is that when it's produced, it's made as a powder that has magical properties of like a very, very, very low end destruction spell, and so it scorches, and that's why it's ash white into the material. This symbol. So it's like both a dye and also a brand at the same time.
Oh.
So you might be able to get rid of the color with like the right alchemical like counter, but the symbol's always going to be there. The skills it takes to produce something like this is very high. We're talking like a DC 30 or DC 35 alchemy check.
And I at my best, which is basically what I just did. Scary is going to like kind of scurry down and look at Trask. We need to look for a very talented alchemist somewhere in town. Maybe that'll help tomorrow.
Okay. And Trust will just sort of like ask for like more of a explanation, like about like what is it, and I'm assuming Scary will just tell me.
I'll relay the information. It's an alchemical compound. It basically branded the earth, the rock. The reason it's white is from the charring. It would be hard to remove the mark. I might be able to find a way to remove the coloration.
Trust will just sort of look at Scary and say, all right, I need you to try and cover this one up, because this isn't something that a child would do, and this sounds like it's very expensive. Because I've seen how much you spend on getting some alchemy supplies, and if you're saying this is high end, that's...
It wouldn't be hard to do. You could reach up and grab like mud from underneath the marketplace and just...
Yeah. That's my sort of idea. So I just need you to...
Or marketplace, like... the waterfall.
Scary,
we're in the marketplace now.
We'll quickly cover it up with some mud for now.
And say, this is something very important. I don't think a child can't do that. This was too high. This was high for us, and we're comparable to a child in size.
A child wouldn't have access to these kind of alchemical reagents.
Exactly, and this is as expensive as you're saying, and as high, and like as fucking.
You rolled a 20. What was your roll? It was a 20. What?
My alchemy was a 30. It was a natural 18 plus my 12 in alchemy.
You actually recognize this substance. It does not have a name, but it was made a long time ago by some fairly low level, like, I say level, I don't mean mechanically level, I mean like, in terms of respect in the alchemical community. Some fairly low level, like, alchemist who was known for making experiments. He was trying to emulate the arcane mark spell, which you as a witch would know very well. This was like an alchemical attempt to reproduce true magic. It's not a recipe that's very well known, and it's pretty difficult to pull off for a very small payback.
Whoever is making this, I do believe they are more talented in alchemy than even me.
All right, so this isn't just some prank, and it sounded like off already. I think this is something that we should get on top of as soon as we can and tell someone, or like
yes,
look around just a little bit more for ourselves at some of these marks and where they are.
All right. And so the camera's going to shift now. The scene shifts back to the bar, with Crystalia and Galen sitting together alone at the table since everyone else bounced. Crystalia, I will give you an opportunity to ask Galen about the town. Galen is a native to the town. He knows everything there is to know about it, at least that a common person would know. So you could, narratively, this would be you saying, tell me about Trinal, but I will give this information to the party.
So I asked Galen to give me more information about the town, as I am just traveling into it pretty much for the first time.
General information. Are you looking for something regarding the dwarf and the orc that Fenris got up and spoke to? Or do you just want to hear like rumors? Or Galen, is there something that you think, oh, this is something interesting that Kirstalia might want to know more about? And then I'll give you guys more information on that.
Maybe some general information, and then I'll ask a little bit more detailed question about Tiari, because I was revealed that they were a paladin.
Okay. For general information, what I'll have you, either of you do, Kristalia or Galen, either of you guys can make a knowledge local check.
What is Galen's knowledge local?
Probably just +2.
I'll take that. Yeah, I get my +2 for native.
You should do that.
And-
I'm a -1.
And Sky, do you have any ranks in knowledge local?
No.
He does not, but his trait is that he lives in Trernau. So I'm just saying you can make that check because it would be kind of dumb that he couldn't.
I was asking more Sky to like remind
No, I
that
don't.
you need to have ranks in it for the.
No, I
for the
understand.
specific-
I know, but I don't.
Yeah, I got a 14 total.
14 total. Okay, that's enough to remember one interesting thing about the city.
That's
Yeah.
definitely better than the fake roll I just
Because the thing is like this is a random person coming. Like I'm not gonna ask you to dox yourself, but say you lived in New York and you were like, man, I had a rough day. I'm gonna go to the bar, right? And then a random stranger comes up to you and is like, hey, I'm from Philly. Tell me about New York. You would be like, I don't. What do I?
No.
You have no frame of reference for what would interest them.
Exactly. However, oh, okay. I rolled which rumor you picked up. You heard Fenris being told. You heard the name Omost in the conversation Fenris had with the orc and the orc and dwarf lesbian couple. If you remember from last session. Did you say gay?
Gay.
I mean, yes, that is
Couple
that is an accurate statement.
Yes.
What was the name? For me, your mic cut out. I don't know if it did for anyone else.
You heard the name Omost,
Okay.
and you said like your brain just scrambling for like something interesting. You go, Omost actually has a pretty neat story. Why don't I just tell this person the story of Omost, second in command of the town's guard? And I'm going to send that to you right now and let you read it out because I think that's more immersive.
Woo.
But dink.
It helps if you read it out loud, Legion.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, what part of this should I be reading? The whole thing?
The whole thing.
second
Just go
half?
ahead and read the whole thing. It's a good story, and like, it's definitely one of those local stories that's like good to tell a stranger. That's like, tell me about the town.
Okay. So we'll go. So you heard about Omost from their conversation there. Middle-aged patrol sergeant of the town guard here. He's a good-natured fellow who was born and raised in Lastwall, where he receives a standard military training. And he decided that the rigidity of his home city of Vigil was not to his liking.
I'm gonna have you pause for a quick second here.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, Lastwall is a major country that borders the Holds of Belkzen, which is basically Mordor, which is where you guys find yourself. Lastwall is the city of Crusaders. It was literally built by Crusaders. It was designed specifically because their whole purpose was we are going to start a nation so we can pull like political weight when we need help to hold back the Orcish hordes. That's why it's called Last Wall, because they consider themselves the last wall of defense. And he grew up there.
I
All right.
return.
Oh. Okay. Where was it?
So yeah, you can start from the beginning. Just don't worry about where you were. I just wanted to.
Okay. Let's see, excuse me, Jesus. He's a good-natured fellow who was born and raised in Lastwall. He got standard military training there. Decided he didn't like the rigidity of Vigil, and relocated to the decidedly more pragmatic Trunau many years ago. For most of his life, Omast Froom was known as a man who loves his drink, rarely seen without a mug of ale in his hand or alcohol in his breath. However, roughly 3 years ago in his drunkenness, he almost caused the death of a child by stumbling into a stack of full barrels of water which went rolling down the main street. A 6-year-old Trunauan was taking a nap against the wall at the bottom, and it was only through Roderick Grath's quick thinking that the child was snatched up seconds before the heavy barrel slammed directly into where he had been sitting. When no one was hurt, almost understood how close to catastrophe things had come, and hasn't touched the drink since.
And I just went ahead and shared an image of Omos From with you guys. That gave me plenty of time for me to make the actual character sheet. Thank you.
Very welcome.
All right. So you also, like, after that, like, specific conversation, you also go over basic things, like, hey, we have a blacksmith in town, here's what it's like living under constant threat of orc assault, etc., right? Like, it's, the conversation pretty quickly turns to, you know, hey, what's it like living here? Because I'm a paladin, and you guys literally live in basically a fortress. You know what I mean? And then Crystalia, you said that you wanted to mention, talk about one more person? I'm sorry, I missed who that was.
Tiari Varvados.
Alright, great.
Paladin.
I can go ahead and send that over to you as well. Sorry you are being my mouthpiece right now, but it works out because you're a Trunauan native.
Totally fine.
So you absolutely know Tiari. Here you go ahead and read that. Sound more upset about it.
I feel like I'm reading to the class, but it's okay. I will do this. Tiari Varvetos is the current matron of the sanctuary, a combination of the church and fortress within Trunau's walls. A spry cleric is the younger sister of Aliana
Varvetos.
Aliana Varvetos, the second sword knight of the Sancta Iomade in the city of Vigil. A number of citizens speculate why the young cleric toils in Trunau instead of alongside her prominent sister, with most presuming she is here to create her own name rather than live in her sister's shadow. Many have noticed that she is rarely seen without the errant paladin Brantos Calderon nearby. The paladin was formerly stationed at Castle Ferine, and he forsook his post to pledge his blade, and some say his heart, to the resolute young cleric who fights on the harsh frontier.
This is also kind of when you find out that she's not actually a paladin, she's a cleric, but she's a cleric of the god of righteous warfare. So, like, kind of 6 to 1, half dozen the other. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't have known that until this moment, pretty much.
I feel like that's you're almost splitting hairs at that point.
Yeah. All right. After this conversation, Fenris, the ladies have excused themselves. At some point, in their conversation, you guys are just, talking shop. Agrit has been talking with you for probably about half an hour now of like, hey, this is the plan we've got to do this weekend. I need you to go over these magical items. I need you to dust off these tomes, etc. Basic, you're talking to your boss, but like at the bar kind of stuff. Like it's casual, but they're still gonna say, this is what I need you to do. And after a little bit, you see Zero sighs, finishes the rest of her wine, puts that glass down, reaches over, finishes all of Agrit's dwarven ale, puts that down, turns around, and grabs a mug of someone else's ale, who's, hey, what the fuck, Zero? And, like, she slams that, and then puts that down, reaches into her pocket, and pulls out a silver to pay for it and puts it next to the mug, stands up and stretches her back, and she says, "Well, I appreciate seeing you, Fenris. It's always nice to see you. But me and Agrit have better things to do when we're both drunk and in a good mood." And she lifts up Agrit and puts her on her shoulder, and Agrit gives like a little squeak, and she says, "We're gonna go fuck!" And everyone at the party says, "Yeah!" Like, the crowd cheers. And Zero just like straight listening to fuck like strong lady like kicks her way out the door, and like Agrit is like playfully like fighting on her shoulder, but like not really.
Oh wow, that's great.
Traz and Skari, you guys are coming your way back to the Ramblehouse just in time to see the half-orc woman like kick out the Batwing doors and walk out with this like giggling, playful dwarven woman over her shoulder, and she's like smiling, like grabbing herself a fistful of cheek, and walks past you, and she looks at you like towering over you. I mean, Zero Morninghawk is 6'5", so like she's enormous compared to you guys. Looks down at you, gives you a wink and a smile, and says, "Ladies," and keeps walking.
Skari is gonna have fun. And clearly slightly blushing at the thought of what is about to happen.
Grass is absolutely laughing and gently playing with Skari's hair.
And you guys, and Crystalia, Galen, and Fenris, you see, before the doors even finish, like, swinging open and shut to the Ramblehouse, the two rat folk that you might not even have noticed had left, come scurrying back in. Party reunited.
Skari doing a scurry?
Skari's doing a scurry.
Skari scurrying.
Scared Skari scurry?
Yeah.
Jokes aside, alright, so.
Trass will go over to we'll go to speak to Galen and say, "Hey, about those two people that we had talked to that were with us earlier.
It gets down.
You know any-
I'm going to interrupt real quick and just say that after a little while, before you get this conversation, you're settled in. The Ramblehouse has gotten a little bit quieter. It's now probably around 9 or 10 p.m. And like now that there's no one around, that's why you feel comfortable having this conversation.
Okay. Trass speaks sort of like just openly to Galen and said, about that thing that we were gonna check out tomorrow. With the how am I already forgetting?
You mean with Roderick?
Yes. With Roderick, there seems to be this is not. We need to get in touch with him as soon as possible. I'm not even sure. The night should go on. Is he too indisposed at the moment, or?
Roderick went to bed pissed drunk about 2 hours ago.
Yes,
but my characters wouldn't know that.
I know. I'm reminding the viewers from last session and also Galen.
Sorry.
Unfortunately, unless you have a way to arouse him out of his drink-sodden slumber, he's indisposed of right now.
Frost will sort of mutter some obscenities. He's like, fucking shit. Okay. Do you know anyone else that we could bring something of this sort of a very important message to start something right now? Like anything like that?
Well,
In character, you would know you could technically just report this to the guard, but that would start like a whole official process. It's like, that would be a big come to. You might, if you wanted to go talk to Kurzt, you might be able to convince him to talk to you, but he's on the complete other end of town and probably trying to sleep also. If not, Roderick is staying here tonight. There's no reason that you couldn't just say, hey, we'll wake up early and speak to him.
Yeah.
And this is me talking specifically to Galen, because you're asking Galen that question, and that's a question that he would, I'm giving him the answers he would know.
Right. If we needed to start something right now, your only real options are either reporting it directly to the guard, or we could go and see if maybe Kurzt is still awake, but I doubt it at this time of night. Otherwise, we can plan to just wake up early tomorrow and first thing when we see Roderick, bring it up to him. We are all staying here after all.
Trust will sigh and say, I guess it'll have to wait then.
Tras,
Yes?
perhaps the night would let me commune with Sir Jeffers, and I might be able to find something else out as well.
Alright, that sounds good. Sounds good. He just gives her a pat on the head, and
Calls her a good girl,
yeah, he just gives a general, also pet and stroke to the little cat, to the cat underneath her legs.
Jeffers purrs. Although I am enjoying the fact that you're talking about petting Scari's pussy between her legs.
Yeah.
Hey, yo!
Hey, yo!
Oh, that's great.
God damn it.
You said it, not me. Like,
Absolutely.
I clearly didn't think of it that way.
Now you do.
So Trust will sort of like we have this is just a general question. We do have rooms ready, yes?
so, before Roderick went to sleep, he secured rooms in the Ramblehouse. For those of you who did not live here, Galen already does live here. So that wasn't an issue for him. I did have Cham blaring fast. I'm a fucking... There you go. That's Cham. That's the halfling that runs the bar. Or the tavern.
Oh, fair.
But yeah, so he secured a room for you guys on his dime. And Galen already has a home. Fenris, technically, you could go stay at the place where you're staying.
It's gonna be a little bit loud though.
No, wait, hold on. We agreed that you actually stayed in the Ramble House also. Agrit's
Yeah.
Agrit's paying your rent. Yeah, that's what Fenris does. Is like Fenris doesn't get paid money. Fenris gets paid in the fact that Agrit pays for him to stay here. So yeah,
Fair. So Trust will sort of get the keys to the room if there are any, and just try and settle in for an earlier night to be up extra early. To specifically catch the captain.
okay.
And this is also to say I need to go to the washroom again. I'm sorry, I've just started HRT again, and
I
fucking with me.
totally get it. That's the reason why I worked a break into the game.
I will be back.
All right. It is very, very early. So you're all retiring to sleep then, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Prayer spells, as per usual. And
Yeah, so I'm going to have everyone go ahead and make sure you go into your character sheets and make sure that you say, hey, this is the spell that I'm using, this is the spell, like, get that shit all together, because now that's actually going to start, like, mattering. And I'll wait. Unfortunately, I will have to wait for her to come back, but that's not too big. I will point out that you guys are not all in one big room, right? Like, there's 3 or 4 rooms, because most of these rooms are, like, built for 1 human or, like, 2 or 3 halflings. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So, like, you're not in one room, you're kind of, like, spread amongst 2 or 3. In fact, you know what we can do? I will move you guys over to the actual second floor of the Ramblehouse, which is where you guys are sleeping. Who wants to take what rooms? So, the big room in the upper left can comfortably sleep 2 medium-sized creatures, or 3 small-sized creatures, or 1 medium-sized and 2 small-size. The second room on the northwest could fit 1 medium creature, or 2 if you're feeling snuggly, and all of the rest of them could fit 1 medium comfortably, or 2 smalls comfortably, or 1 medium with a little bit of cramp.
I'll take the second room.
Hold on, let me do this. Stand by. Alright, so I'm going to put your character models here. You should be able to control your character models, and we'll go ahead and have you guys... Crystalia, yuck. We'll have you guys put yourselves wherever you'd like to sleep.
I'll take this one.
I suppose. I don't know. Suppose that one.
The one in the northeast, Crystalia, is not going to be open because that has a ton of small people beds. That's probably where most of the staff for the Ramblehouse sleep. Okay, that works.
There.
The one right beneath it is fine. Your feet might, hang off. I think it's really funny that you guys gave Scary and Traz the fucking room with the massive king-size bed for 2 large medium creatures. Y'all were
Very
heading,
obviously a couples.
y'all were heading upstairs you need bed space. You need a large bed.
It's to make sure that Sir Jeffers has plenty of bedroom.
He takes up
Let's be honest,
1/3
the
of
bed's
that
for
by
the
himself.
cat.
Yeah, he takes up
Just
1/3
for
of that
Sir
alone.
Jeffers.
There's just a room in there so they can sleep on the floor, but the bed's for the cat.
I just imagine that they've taken the blankets and everything on the bed and wrapped them, made it into a nice little nest for them to sleep in. There's a nice little burrow in the bed, right in the dead center.
All right, fair enough. And you guys all go ahead and get your sleep.
Insert, the clock video game sounds.
From any Japanese RPG.
Yeah, just any of them. Take your pick.
Literally
I'll
just
take a Tales
any
series.
time passing.
It's around 5 or 6 a.m. And you hear a blood-curdling shriek from outside your doors.
What in the...
It seems like it came from upstairs.
There's more upstairs.
Scary will
I did say this was a
immediately
3
sprint out for
stories. All right. Anyone else making any movements or anything?
I am following that, finding out what's happening.
All right.
I'll
So
make a
Jonas is
note
out the door,
that Trask is
hello?
probably also hot on my heels.
So
But since I'm actually still in the washroom, I'm going to.
no, that's fine. So you guys, most of you poke your heads out and you see Scary bolting up the steps, with Traz hot on her heels. Fenris, you quickly follow after you realize something happened. Galen and Crystalia, because you didn't say anything, I'm going to say that you're still waking up a little bit.
What?
It takes you a little bit to stumble.
Oh no, I said I was on that. I was out the door and
Oh, I didn't
looking
hear.
for where the sound come from.
My fault. I didn't
All
hear you.
talking over each other, so
Yeah.
it wasn't all them. But
It's all good. Did Crystalia come back yet?
I am Crystalia.
I'm still not used to people's voices. I'm so sorry.
Trask
good?
is still missing.
Well, that's fine. Tross is not. This is not Tross's fucking wheelhouse in terms of things that are happening. So you go upstairs and leaning against the wall is Cham, and she's crying and hyperventilating. Oh god! Oh no! Oh Jesus!
I am going to.
And you can see that there are 2 guards already up here.
Oh.
That's not super unusual. Galen, you could probably speak to the fact that, like, that's not really strange. The Ramblehouse always has 2 guards in the room downstairs to respond to anything that happens. So, like, they were already awake and armed and armored. You guys had to, like, wake up and, like, get your shit together before it was, you know what I mean? So, like, they just happened to beat you up there.
Got it.
And they're got a hand on her shoulder, and the other one is, like, near a door that she's crying next to, and he's looking inside, but, like, he's making sure the door is, like, slightly peeked open and not, like, all the way open.
What?
I'm gonna just walk right up to the guards. What's going on?
Sham's like, I came upstairs and he asked for a wake up call and breakfast, and you can see that on the floor there's like a shattered plate with like some breakfast, like some toast and bacon and all that, and she's like, that's how I found him, and the guards are like, oh, Galen, it's not good. And the other one is gonna like take a minute to like hold the rest of you guys back and be like, it's town business. You're welcome to be up here, but I need to insist that you keep your distance a little bit. And the other guard is gonna wave you over, Galen, and gesture into the room. And is Galen here?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry. And my mic muted.
Why?
I needed to mute for a moment while I slurped on my food.
Fair enough. I will accept this as an answer.
And so tell me, what in the hell's happened?
He gestures in the room. He says, I don't. Just look.
And he's going to, slowly push open the door to take a look inside.
On the bed is Roger Grath, laying peacefully, sleep like comfortably, but on his back, arms spread wide, with deep cuts all the way down his wrist, from palm to shoulder. Actually, hold on. Let me retcon this. With deep cuts through his brachial artery, so right near his elbow, his femoral artery, so right near his knee, and a one puncture in his throat with the hope knife that he has from being a Trinau native lodged in his neck. Roderick has committed suicide. After that, and there's blood all over the feather bed, and it is a gruesome scene. Someone who severed 3 major arteries, but there's a lot of blood, and so the guard, after you've taken a little bit of a look, like roughly pulls you out and closes the door. He says, you understand why we can't let outsiders nearby right now.
Unfortunately, I do.
A crowd has started to gather. And for the other 4, you don't know what Galen saw, but Galen steps back, slightly shaken.
What be going on there, Galen?
Something that makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
And it is, again, like, there's people starting to gather up here now. Not a lot of people, but, like...
Galen is going to actually, where is Sham right now? She's still in the hallway?
up against the wall crying, and he's, oh god, I just found him like
Okay,
that.
So Galen talking to Scary. Scary, you mind grabbing Gem and bringing her downstairs with us? Here's not the place to talk. And he's gonna just kind of push past everyone and start making his way down to the main floor, assuming that everyone is going to follow.
As you go, the guard that was holding the other four back, because, you know, he doesn't have to hold anyone back if you're leaving with them, kind of, like, grabs you by the shoulder and leans in and really quietly says, we've already had a runner go and grab Kurzt. He should be here any minute.
Good. Let me know when he gets here.
He says, if you're going to be downstairs, you'll see him before we do.
Fair.
All right, and you are now in the tavern's main hall. You would never know what happened. There's a couple of people that are here. You know, there's a woman and her boyfriend who might have either been here all night or came in after a late night. They're very clearly drunk and, like, laughing. They seem to either have not heard the scream or they're just, you know, not paying attention to it. They're laughing in the corner, just having a good night. It just seems like a quiet night at the bar, except for the fact that Cham is crying hysterically.
Morning? Question mark?
It is morning. Well, it's like 5 or 6 in the morning, yeah.
Right, you said quiet night at the bar.
Well, yeah, fair enough.
It may still be for them. Who knows? They're drunk enough.
I've had days where I've drank until 5 or 6 a.m. That ain't weird.
Same. Same. So Galen, having gotten down to the main hall, is going to, like, again, still assuming that everyone is either following right behind him or is making their way down behind him. He's going to kind of...
Well, let me ask you this way. Is anyone not doing that?
No. I'm going down.
Us as well.
Alright, go ahead.
Alright, he's going to just kind of, once he hits that main hall, he's going to take a sharp turn to where the kitchen / bar area would be, and find one of the staff members, tell them that we need water and probably a towel.
There is a single half elf that's working. As soon as he sees you, he's like, "What was that scream? I saw Cham call up to bring Captain Roderick his food, and I heard. What is everything okay?" He's the only one working. You recognize this guy. He's like the normal night shift, like everything, really, because he's the only employee that's like at this time of night.
Right. Not really the time to talk about it right now. First things first, I'm going to need some water and probably a towel. Sham should be on her way down now with Scary, and we need to get her back and away from folk as quickly as possible.
He's gonna nod and he'll say, "Yeah, I'll tell everyone that comes in that closed." It's, all right. And he goes in the back, and you know you can hear him you hear the dunk of him dunking big cups into the big water reserve that they've got back there. And after a little bit, everyone is sitting around the table with Cham, who is is still crying, but not hysterical anymore. And most of the crowd has thinned out. There might be one or two very late night shift guards that are still around, having a drink and also kind of keeping an eye on the place. And Kurzt comes in and looks really somewhere between horrified, heartbroken, and confused, and sees you guys all sitting together, sees that you have Cham with you, and holds up his hand and is like, "I'll hold up and wait for a minute," and leans against the wall. It's probably been about 15 minutes. In that time, the other 2 guards that were upstairs have hustled everyone else either to their rooms or out of the bar, so you have the space to yourself.
Alright.
So you can either talk to Cham, or you can go talk to Kurzt and let Cham continue to calm down a little bit, or, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Aelin is going to get up and go and approach Kurzt. Does anyone else want to talk to Cham during this time?
Yes, please. And I'm a fucking dumbass. I forgot I'm muted. I've been talking for a bit.
I
Streamer
could
mood.
not hear.
Well done. Pro content. This is going to
Yeah.
go so well on the podcast, too.
Trask kept saying like Trask would help Skari in bringing down Chan, and she will always be spending the time like comforting her. And but when there gets a break, after she calms down a bit, she will try and talk to the other guy as well.
Is anyone going to interrogate Cham right now, or ask her any questions? Interrogate might not be the right word. Or are you gonna hang out and offer her like, "Hey, it's okay, we're here. Take a breath," and try and calm her down before that happens?
I'd rather calm her down.
Yeah, that was why I was going to approach Kurzt first.
So I might actually join Galen at that point.
All right, leaving Crystalia and Skari with Cham.
Yeah.
You three approach Kurzt, and Kurzt runs his fingers through his hair, like in that I don't know what to do kind of like. And he says, "Well, you're here before me, so I guess you've found out that Roderick.
Yeah.
I came over as soon as I could, but as soon as the news broke, I've had my hands full. We had a runner that came into the longhouse and shouted what happened, and I've had to be organizing everything before I can make it down. Right now, technically, the only thing we can do is assume it was a suicide, but I don't believe
hold
that.
on a moment. First off, I'm sorry for your loss. He was a good man, loved by everyone, and I can already tell you that something isn't quite right here.
And Kurzt will nod enthusiastically. At this point, despite the fact that this man is like in his mid to late 20s, and you would know, especially you, Galen, a survivor of many battles, he seems like a 13-year-old kid who is being told you're not in trouble. Like, he's doing the quick nods, he's looking down anywhere but at you, like, he is clearly out of his depth.
The first thing that I want to ask you, before we go anywhere else, has Roderick seemed off at all to you lately?
He shakes his head and he says, "No, I haven't really spent a lot of time with him outside of work for the past 3 or 4 days."
I'm aware.
He nods and says, "Roderick told you before about him and Brynja before last night?"
Yes, I heard about it actually last night before he went to sleep.
Who and what now?
I haven't seen him much because of that, and he seemed like maybe he was a little bit more like sad and reserved, but I just assumed it was because of me and like him and his father fighting.
I understand. The main thing right now is that what the guards on site right now are going to say is that there's no other option but to brand this as suicide.
He'll say, "Yeah."
I
The reality is that Roderick was the best investigator in Chernow. Ironically, if he were investigating his own suicide, I'm sure that the mystery would be solved right away, but it's just me. We might never know what happened.
Well, take a breath. Calm down. I already know something isn't right because if this was an intended outcome for him, he never would have asked Cham for a wake-up call. He would never intentionally put it on someone else to find him like that. Just not who he is.
He'll
Can I
Oh yeah,
interject
please.
for 1 second?
Please.
This is happening for all of us at the table, right? Or is this a private conversation?
So it's not a private conversation. Right now, Skari and Crystalia are at the table trying to calm down Cham, who is crying because he just found a suicide victim. The other three are talking to Kurzt near the door, but Kurzt isn't like trying to keep his voice down already. Like he's talking pretty normally, so you could easily overhear and come over to say something.
Okay. With the repeated mentions of something weird going on, Skari will scurry over. I do not mean to interject, but I had some information for Roderick last night. I do believe something very odd is happening in town.
Kurzt is going to look up at you, and it's a weird feeling having someone that's about 1.5 feet taller than you look up, but he was staring so hard down at his feet with dejection and defeat that he has to, like, look up to you. And he says, unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be able to pass that info on.
No, but it does pertain to, I think, something very odd is happening, and perhaps since he asked me to look into it this morning, maybe that is involved.
And he says, maybe. I can't. He's gonna sigh and again run his hand through his hair, very clearly overwhelmed. He's gonna say, I can't send any guards to help you or to investigate this because I am not a captain of the... I am merely a leader of the militia. I can't officially ask you to do anything, but it sounds like you found some interesting information. Would you be willing to help? Would all of you be willing to help look into this? I'm gonna be honest, I will not disgrace my brother by assuming this was a suicide.
I'm willing to help.
That's the best thing you can do. I'll definitely help here.
I would like to help, and I know of something we can start. I would just need some help from someone that knows the area and knows the people better.
He's gonna bring himself up, clearly trying to look official, but like not really succeeding. And Kurzt will say, "Well, if you need someone official," he's gonna look at Galen and say, "Galen, do you remember your vow when you obtained your hope knife?"
Of course, everyone who lives here does.
I believe that in this moment, we can accept that if something is happening, it is a threat to Chernau, not just a threat to my late brother. Do you accept that your duties extend beyond fighting orcs?
Of course.
Galen, I hereby deputize you. You are a temporary member of the Guard, and you have full allowance to have these outsiders as your assistants in this investigation. He's going to look at you, Skari, and he's going to say, there, now you have someone working under my employ that knows the town and knows the people.
Thank you.
I do think, first off, you should hear of this information before we go, just so you know what it is that we are going to be looking at first.
I will point out, I said that when Ari originally pointed out, the guards said that Kurzt should be here in about 20 minutes. It's been like 3 or 4 hours. Like, Kurzt clearly had shit he had to do before he got here. Just so you guys have the internal timeline, all right?
Yeah, fair.
Like, so things have probably happened outside of the inn that you might not have known about. But I'm sorry, go on. You were saying?
We should. Trask wishes to tell him about the symbols and what they are going to be investigating, and just gives if he sees any like it just just a general like notion that like these aren't just kids doing this. This is definitely something much more expensive, much more like a skilled person has to be doing this, and it has to be most likely an adult. So that that is just like a general warning for that, and that's what we are going to be checking out.
Kurtz will nod. Clearly already is still slightly distracted from the news that his brother has died. And he's gonna say, yeah, I'll pass that on. And I'm assuming that you explained to him about like the nature of the graffiti, the fact like what it's made out of and that kind of thing. Draws and Scary.
Yeah.
Yes.
He'll say, I'll pass that information on. Omost has been in charge of the graffiti cleanup. I think he's well, the overnight crew found something really big outside, and as far as the graffiti goes, and they had him slated to address it. I'll see if I can send a runner to let him know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions you have for me? Before I gotta go. I gotta go back home. There's a lot I've got to do to organize the guard as much as I can, and I've got family duties too. Oh God, my father. I don't think he knows. I'll answer any other questions you have before I go, though.
Trask won't have any, and we'll just say, you get that done as soon as anyone else finishes what they have to ask, if they have anything to ask.
Tell me, who is currently in command of the guard?
He'll sigh shakingly, and he'll say, technically, command goes to my father as town sheriff, but I think that what we're probably going to do is we're probably going to split off 2 or 3 people to guard Roderick's body, which, by the way, all of you would have seen them carry Roderick's body out.
Okay, yeah.
So guard over his body, and the rest are going to go on about business as usual until we can figure out new orders. We're holding the body at the town sanctuary until the funeral. So the guard is mostly ceremonial, if nothing else. I think the sanctuary would have been able to prevent anything.
Fair enough.
Galen, you would know that the sanctuary is like, it is the Church of Iomade in town, and because Iomade is the goddess of like a specific type of war, like it is a church and also a fortress. So like,
Yep. So, I guess the only other question I have really is, should we find anything, or should something occur that requires official handling, should we bring that to you or your father, or do I have the authority to take care of business, as it were?
well, I'll say that you don't really have the authority to take care of it in that respect, but you definitely have the authority to come and speak to me. I'll be at the Longhouse I need to plan Roger's funeral and manage his affairs, but if I'm not there, you could leave word and I'll get in contact with you as soon as possible.
All right. I just needed to know who I needed to report to.
That still was in character. Because, yeah.
He is sad, man.
And he's gonna nod and say, "Well, if there's nothing, that goddamn dog just needs to shut up sometimes. But, if there's nothing else, I'll need to get back to my duties." And it seems like he's gonna nod over at Cham, who has at this point like gotten herself together enough to just be like sniffling into a mug of tea. And he's gonna say, "If nothing else, it seems like you might have your first thing to discuss right there."
Indeed.
And he's gonna nod and leave. And you are now alone in the tavern's main room. Well, I say alone. Alone with Cham.
I head back over to the table and sit down. Cham, right?
Yes.
Brain.
Yes. I assume that was
Okay.
asked out of character. Her name is Cham.
Yeah,
Cham
out of
learning
character.
fast.
Cham. I'd like to ask some questions.
She's gonna... Okay.
Have you seen anything strange on in the tavern of late?
I don't really recall anything unusual. She is saying this kind of like haltingly, and like she keeps looking at you, then back to her tea, then at you, then back to her tea. Like, no, I haven't seen anything unusual. I don't know what you could be talking about.
I was just curious since, from what I've heard so far,
By the way, I will point out that if you guys want to make a skill check, you don't have to wait for me to tell you to do so. You could be like, I'm going to do this. What's my skill check?
this
Okay.
probably end up being diplomacy depending on how I word it.
Puppy.
From all I've known, so far is that Roderick isn't the kind of man to do this to himself for no real reason. So I was just curious if anyone odd has been coming through, or any odd occurrences besides graffiti.
No, I don't think anything weird has happened. Make me a sense motive check. Everyone that's present.
What check?
Sense motive.
Sense motive.
Just
Got
looking
one
at
bonus.
I'm looking
roll.
at total
Please,
20.
please, again, not I'm, but
Or, sorry, Galen, total 20.
Trask has got that 10.
17 for Fenris.
Gary has a 7.
Crystalia has a -1.
oh no. For sense
I rolled
motive?
a nat 1 and I'm -2.
For sense motive? How are you -2 for sense motive?
It says -2.
I don't doubt you. I just let me sense motive. What is sense motive based off of? Wisdom.
Wisdom.
That's why I thought it was charisma. Yeah, you have a -2 wisdom and no red sense. So there you go.
I know nothing. I can't sense shit.
If you beat a 15, Sham is not telling you the entire truth right here. something like Cham has clearly has noticed something like out of the ordinary. She's being very like dodgy about it. She is still very clearly torn up and like devastated by what happened, but like she's not being super forthcoming. But none of you rolled high enough to like guess what that might be.
Surprising. I mean, 4 of us
Wow.
are new, so
Even with the
three of
20?
us.
Wow, okay. Damn, she's good at hiding shit.
She does speak to people as a living, and she's a halfling.
Oh, that is... Yeah, okay. Okay. Galen's gonna kind of... Not, like, slam his hand on the table, but, like, kind of abruptly place his hand on the table and eye her up and say, Chem, you and I both know there have been quite a bit more comings and goings of the unusual variety lately. What did you see?
Diplomacy or intimidate? Your decision on how you want to play this.
Wish I could help with intimidate.
And this is me as a GM, just so that the rest of you who've never played with me know. I will usually not hold you to the way you said that was an intimidate check, or the way you said that was a diplomacy check. You could say to me, like, this is what I'm saying, and then I'll say these are your options. If you are not a great role player, and you're like, I want to ask this question, but I don't want to, like, have it taken literally, you can say that. You could be like, I want to ask Cham about this, but I don't want it to be taken hostilely. And I would say, yeah, go ahead and make me a diplomacy check. I'm not going to force you to, like, roleplay.
That's, we're looking at the 16 on diplomacy.
Okay. You put your hand down on the table with a bit of force, not like as a slam, but you know. And
Probably more than intended.
yeah, and she jumps a little bit, and at that moment, Cham Laringfast, the like middle-aged halfling woman who has been through some shit you know better than anyone because you've heard her bar stories, looks frail and youthful, and she. I'm so sorry. I didn't think anything about it. And she starts crying and puts her hands in her head in her hands. And she's gonna. The comings and the goings. They're not really anything that caught my attention, but it's made me pay a little bit closer of attention. God damn it! That damn dog. Say, it's made me pay a little bit more attention to the things that have come up, and yesterday we had another newcomer. He was a human, and he came in, and she's gonna go over to the front of the bar, and she's gonna take the registrar where she records like everybody that came through. And she's gonna open it and flip to yesterday's page, and going through it, everyone's on there, but there is one room that was rented that has no name next to it. And she's gonna say, "It just he came in and he wanted a room, but he didn't give me his name."
Do you have access to that room? Do you know if he is still here?
He never checked out. He oh god, he paid me a fistful of platinum to not take his name, and I just figured he was some adventurer with a checkered past. And I didn't.
Which room?
His room 27. And you guys would probably recognize that's the room like down the hall from Roderick's.
Scurry is going to kind of start making her way rather quickly up to that room.
Going to
Kurzt is
follow.
going to follow.
Galen's gonna turn to follow, and before actually making the move to follow them, he's gonna look at Cham and It's not your fault, if that's what you're thinking. People with not so great pasts is nothing new out here. You know that as well as I do.
She
And then
breaks down crying.
he's gonna head up after everybody.
Sprinter's just gonna stand and follow.
Presumably you guys had grabbed the key from her before you did this.
Yeah. I completely forgot.
Be a slave. We wouldn't.
Oh, Scary didn't
Just
think
begin
about it.
Just start knocking. Hello, please. We would like in. You are being investigated.
Wouldn't even
for
knock, I'd just
murder.
open the damn door.
All right. You open the door, and all over the walls is that symbol that Traz and Skari saw. I mean, it looks like that whoever was in here was like, fucking posting it, and like, but it's not random. It's not like crazy person ramblings. It's if you go up to it and you look, it's the symbol and then a dash and then a location in town. And there's so many of these that it covers like one entire wall.
I'm going to quickly search for the one by the see if there's one specifying the location of the waterfall.
You find it fairly easily because this one is circled in red.
I'm going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. The white dye glows slightly magical, but that's not unusual because you had already assumed this was an alchemical compound.
Yeah.
So, it's written in Orcish. You can't understand it, but that is noteworthy in and of itself. Like, everything that's in here is written in Orc. But yeah, it's circled in red, and it has, like, it says Iomade. You can at least recognize that out of the speech. Does anyone... I know a bunch of you speak Orc, but Skari, do you speak Orc?
No.
Okay, so you just see this as, like,
I
drag...
cast Comprehend Languages.
Fantastic. Okay.
Use one of my spells today and cast Comprehend Languages, so I can read Orc.
So you recognize it has that image pointing down, and it says we have finally found it.
That's not good.
But there's a couple of other, like, all over the place, people looking, like, says, it says, like, it might be here, that kind of thing. Another one is circled in red. And that one, if you go over to it and look to it, it says in Orcish, old burnt church, very promising, we found it, bring group, ?
Would we know where that is, like, in correspondence to the actual, like, general layout, or would...
You probably wouldn't,
No.
Galen would.
Yeah. Trask will sort of, like, pull Galen over and say, where is that in, like, correspondence, if that is the waterfall for the town, the water thing. Sorry.
Galen, outside the only thing you could think of is outside of town there's an old church. In fact, the sanctuary that's inside town is not the first one. The original sanctuary was built outside the walls, under the idea that Iomade would protect the church from the orcs. And a few years back, it got burnt to the ground, in a non-orc related incident. And no one's really been out there very much in any official capacity. You know that it's a pretty common place for, like, kids to go, because, like, there's rumors that it's haunted. And so, like, kids will be like, hey, I bet you can't spend a night in the old burned down church, like, shit like that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's also, like, very common that lovers, like, especially lovers that don't want people to know that they're together, will, like, meet up there, because it's, like, close enough to town for you to walk out there comfortably, but far enough from town that prying eyes aren't going to notice you.
All right. So what's the question again, Tress?
Where is this?
Outside town
Like,
to the south.
Yeah, that was my
Okay.
question.
Okay. So if they're talking about the burned out church that's outside of town to the south.
Trask looks to Scary. That sound right?
Oh, yeah, possibly. They have found something either at the waterfall or the burnt church.
I will point out that the room, with the exception of this graffiti, which it's not, like I said, crazy person rambling. It's very clearly like written here over the course of a couple of days. Like someone will write one thing and then move to the next line the next day and write another, so on and so forth. It's like a long running log. But with the exception of that, the room is immaculate. Not a hair out of place. The bed doesn't even look slept in.
Wait, and this is just a memory thing that my character would remember, but I do not because I am dumbest. When did Cham say the person came in?
So Cham said that that the weird person checked in last night and never checked out. If you had been around for the conversation between Galen and Cham about comings and goings, there have been unrecognized half-orcs coming and going over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay. Well, Terry will Trask. Sorry, not Terry. Trask. Will specifically say, all right, so the person who ordered this room last night and said that wanted to be kept quiet wasn't the first person to do this. It doesn't look like.
No,
Oh,
I
by the
thought
way,
this was all...
for every single one of you, I hope you have a piece of paper or something nearby. Take a hero point. The way that you conducted yourselves yesterday and quickly sprang into action, winning the tug of war, helping everyone as much as you possibly could, I would consider that dramatic and heroic. So take a hero point.
Right on.
Take my hero point.
You can find what you can spend hero points on my house rules.
Scary will sit there contemplating for a few seconds. This would have taken more time. Excuse me. And she will run back downstairs to Cham.
Cham is at the bar picking out a breakfast that the half-elf had made, or that the human had made for her. But, like, doing that thing where, like, maybe she's got, like, 2 hard-boiled eggs, or not hard-boiled, like, 2, like, over-easy eggs on a plate, and, like, she'll poke the yolk and then just kind of stir it because she can't bring herself to eat.
She'll run up and then quietly, Cham, excuse me?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still the leader of this tavern. What can I do for you?
I'm sorry to bother you while you are attempting to eat. I would like to know who else has rented that room before?
The register is open on the table next to her, or open on the bar next to her, and she just gestures at it.
Thank you. And I'll start flipping through to see who else who has been renting that room previously.
Every day, a different person checks in and checks out. Every name is orcish in nature.
Cham, have you ever checked on this room before re-renting it out?
She'll shake her head and she'll say, we go in, we look to make sure that every time we've gone in, the bed and stuff has been fine, so we haven't bothered to go in and clean. I'll also at this point retcon slightly and just because this might head off any questions, I apologize for the retcon. A little bit high. You all found, like, this, my assumption was that you went into this room and you looked around, right? It wasn't like you did an investigation. So I'm gonna have everyone do perception checks.
Okay. Favorite.
I need to look at me perception.
because we know how good I am at that.
22.
Galen 16.
Trash has 22.
Beat me a 19.
I rolled a natural 19.
I should say meet or beat a 19. It's DC 19.
Four?
So.
Trash
Or
got a 22.
Fenris.
Scary got a 23.
Me-
As you were all looking around, most of you found this this graffiti. This graffiti was hidden behind the cabinets, or not cabinet, the armoire. So there's an armoire in the room, and someone looked behind it, and you noticed that there was this writing. So you dragged it out of the way, and you realized that this has been behind it, hidden behind it the whole time. Whoever rolled the highest. I heard a 23 in there.
Yes,
That would have been you, Scary.
correct.
While you were looking around, you were looking at the desk that's in the room. And you opened the drawers, you looked around, you put your hand in, you felt around a little bit. And something caught your attention. Because you put your hand in one of the desks. And the bottom of it moved. And you went, that's not right. And you moved it around and... No shit, it's a false bottom drawer. And when you take the bottom out of it, there was a piece of parchment inside.
What does the parchment have? Does the parchment have anything written on it, or?
It does, and we'll retcon this back far enough that we'll say that you guys are all still in the room.
Okay.
There you go. Go ahead and read that out loud for those people who are in the podcast.
Melira, I shouldn't be away for much longer. We still haven't found what we're looking for, but it's only a matter of time, and the other preparations are proceeding as planned. A meddling militia patrol captain has been poking around, but I don't foresee him being a threat for much longer. Once our work is done, it won't matter anyway, and I can return to you. I marvel that I found you in the midst of all of this, and I think of you constantly. Soon, my beloved.
So you have that when you go down to talk with Cham.
Okay.
Fast forward back to where we were, and yes, she gives you the information about the fact that different half-elves, or half-orcs rather, have into the room, orcs or half-orcs, and that she would go in and clean it, but they didn't do a deep cleaning because everything already seemed fine.
I believe that the previous people have been working together. They were looking for something. Does the name Melira ring any bells to you?
She shakes her head. She says, "No, I've never heard that name before."
I believe that the tenants that have been renting this room all have to do with the marks that have been found around town. There was some hidden behind the armoire, marking on the wall with notes in Orcish.
She's gonna start crying again. She's gonna say, "So you're telling me that if I looked harder, I could have stopped this?"
No. I do believe that this is something far beyond anything we could have easily stopped. I think maybe if you had found it sooner, you might be a victim too.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I think it is the safest if you continue, perhaps to, at least for now, pretend to be ignorant of these matters until we figure out exactly who is behind this.
I'll do that. I can help, and you can all stay here for as long as you need until this is all solved, figured out. So I won't charge you, and I mean, here, if you think it'll help, she reaches into her pocket and jangles around a little bit. She says, "Here, this is the room that Roderick was staying in. If you think that there might be a relation."
I will check it. Thank you so much.
She's gonna
She'll take the key gently.
sniffle and go back to her eggs. Because
then-
she has been offered some eggs in this trying times.
And then she will run back up to the others.
The rest of you have been working your way through the Orcish writing on the wall. Because I know most of you read and write Orcish, but it's not your native language, so you're like kind of comparing notes and like just figuring it out. You're starting to realize that like this is a long list. This is like 13 or 14 like of like instances of this symbol around town. And in every single one of them, like there's conversation about like the reason it might be here is because of this.
I am dumb.
And I will leave you guys for a little bit of roleplay while the GM goes and takes a leak and grabs a bag of chips.
I would like the party to laugh at me and point fingers for a moment. I speak Orc. I don't need to cast comprehend languages to read Orc. Heard that in case I needed to read magic or anything else like that, and then I look over and like, what languages do I speak? Common, Ratfolk, Gnoll, Goblin, Orc, Orc. Orc is on my list.
It do be on the list.
But okay.
I kind of wish I took and prepared read magic. Just to see.
I prepared read magic, detect magic, and arcane mark, comprehend languages, and cure light wounds for today, because I was going to show off how an arcane mark looks compared to this fake arcane mark. Doesn't look like I'm going to need that now, though. But I prepared it just in case. But okay, we're supposed to be role playing. Supposed to be doing some role playing.
The GM has returned.
Just
We
in
were
time
just
for the roleplay to ensue.
Yeah, just in time for the role playing to ensue, because I was making fun of myself because I actually speak Orc,
Fantastic.
so I don't
Didn't
need to
need to
cast
use
comprehend
comprehend.
languages to read Orc. Anyway, everyone, I got the key to the other room. I was going to go check it out and see if there was any signs of magic, perhaps.
Trask will hop up at the opportunity to not do this because Trask knows common.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to look at these marks a little bit more. A curiosity has caught my attention.
If you care, I do believe they're the same marks at town. They're made through alchemy.
Alright. So I want to check for any kind of arcane bits coming off of the marks.
I mean, you would know that an alchemical compound would have small amounts of, like, trace amounts of magic to it.
Alright. I was just seeing if there was anything special about it.
Not unusually so.
Okay. Sounds good. And
go ahead.
I'll follow you.
I will go over to the to what would have been Roderick's room and cast detect magic again.
Are you doing this on the outside the door, or have you gone in? Because
I would go inside, but forecasting.
okay. Cool. That's good.
Were you gonna say something, Galen?
Well, there was gonna be. I was just gonna warn her before walking in that it's probably not cleaned up at all, and it is very much not a scene for the faint-hearted.
I am a healer. I am rather used to signs of violence.
Understood.
You open the door. This sparse room contains only a single cot and a writing desk. The cot is cheap fare with a straw-stuffed mattress, now stained absolutely crimson with spilled blood. The desk is a slightly nicer piece of furniture that has nonetheless been chipped and worn by time, and a cracked window in the southern wall is the only exit other than the room's door.
Do I see anything with detect magic?
No.
Okay.
Truss will check the desk. Just look in all the cupboards and look for any, specifically for any false drawers or anything like that.
You
we'll
do
look
indeed find that this desk has the same the same kind of false bottom as the last one. It seems like this is kind of just a thing that all of the rooms have. However, there is nothing inside that drawer.
So most of these, my character will just generally like mutter, if these were just made like this, then I can see that, but it would be surprising to get a large quantity of these without it being a specific, like, a decision made. Someone made this decision to make these all false bottom.
False bottom drawers, I think at this point, and Blake, correct me if I'm wrong, but false bottom drawers would kind of be like the precursor to, you know, how hotel rooms have, or some hotel rooms.
Yeah, for the most
have, like,
part.
saves in the closets. It's like that is your makeshift safe. If someone broke into the room, if they didn't know to look for a false bottom drawer, and you had something in there, they wouldn't be able to find it.
Okay, fair.
So that, and I mean that could very well be the reasoning behind it here. Let's see. Aelin wants to go and investigate the cracked window.
The window has been opened halfway. It seems as though it was specifically designed not to open, like, fully. For, you know, like, I mean, like, hotel rooms will often do that, right? Like, you can't open it for liability reasons.
Mm-hmm.
But, this one allowed you to open it halfway. And make a perception check for me.
Nat 20.
Finish scraping this fucking chip out of my teeth. You ever bite down on a nacho chip and it goes, like, right between your teeth into your gums?
Oh yes, I hate it.
That's what just
It's gonna be
happened.
worse.
But you look around and you notice two things of interest with the window. One, this window was opened halfway, and there's, like, slight scratches and scuffs around the windowsill that leads you to believe that someone might have, like, wiggled their way out. When you look outside and you look down, you're on the third story now, and you're looking outside and you roll a nat 20, you said?
Yeah.
You look at the ground outside, and it's out back behind the boarding house, so it's like muddy dirt. You know, it's like the backyard. It's not really streets. And you originally go, you know, there's really nothing down there. Like, it's totally empty. And then as you move your head to come back inside, there's a glint on something on the floor. Catches your eye, like seems like the light has caught something that's, like, either glass or metal or something like that on the ground. But you're way too high up to get any detail on it.
Well, isn't that interesting?
Truss will say, "What? You see something?"
Thinking I saw something on the ground outside. I'm gonna go check that out.
All right. I will come help you I'll come help you, like, check it out.
Tross, I want to check something with Sir Jeffers. I will be up here.
Okay. Sounds good. And
All right.
before, just as Trust begins to leave, following them, she will give Scurry a pat on the head and scurry off.
Okay, Scary, what were you doing?
I was going to head back to the other room with
Mhm.
Sir Jeffers and ask him to try to see if he can get a scent of the last person that was in the room, that had rented the room, so not anyone that in our group. See if there was any kind of scent there, since I semi forgot that the cat naturally has scent until just a moment ago.
Let me roll its perception check. He'll get off and pat around the room a little bit, sniffing in corners, sniffing on the bed and all that. And because you're empathically linked, which is a special thing for being a witch, you get the emotion that, like, he does smell something, and he can recognize it as a different scent from the five of you, but, like, he's not really able to do much with that information.
I'm gonna also have him smell the note that I found.
You get an emotional inference that it is indeed a note handled by whoever smelled the same as who was here last night.
And then I will take it. I'll go back with Sir Jeffers into Roderick's room and try to see if that same smell is anywhere in that room.
Jeffers, so you guys see Scary come into the room, and what do you say to Jeffers?
Is it here too?
You see Scary come in, and Scary's got a cat perched on her shoulder. The cat jumps off in that, like, slinky, lean way that a cat does, and starts walking, like, takes a minute, looks around the room, then pads underneath the bed, or, like, to the edge of the bed, and then paws twice under the bed, and then walks under the bed, comes out the other side, and jumps up onto the windowsill, and then looks at you, looks out the windowsill, and looks at you again.
I believe whoever was here last night was the one that did something to Roderick.
All right.
I think he was in this room.
When they, out of character thing, real quick, just for knowing what's in the room, when they took Roderick's body, they also took the Hope knife, right?
Technically, Kurzt should have it, but I don't see any reason why, like, honestly, Galen probably would have said, did you have the Hope knife? You know what I mean? Like, being a Trinell native, but I recognize it, like, not a common player question to ask. So we'll retcon slightly, and we'll just say that, like, Galen, Kurzt gave you the Hope knife when he said, please investigate my brother's death.
Okay.
So you asking, where's the Hope knife, reminds Galen, like, oh, hey, I have it.
Oh, is this happening before me and Tress have actually
Left,
gone
yes.
down? Okay.
You're all still in the room together.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I thought we weren't, because I want to say, so, like, watching the cat move about, so the guy was hiding under the bed before he made his way out the window. Hiding under the bed like the fucking goddamn boogeyman.
With that,
How much-
I would like to see if there's any signs of struggle on the bed.
And how much space is under, like, the bed?
You could definitely fit
How much?
a human-sized creature underneath.
Okay, yeah.
Not even a question.
Just making sure.
Fenders, make me a perception check.
All right. $17.
Hmm. There is no sign of struggle at all. But you start realizing that in and of itself is odd. Because it would appear as though Roderick did not move at all while he was dying.
That's not right.
And like, even if this was a suicide, like, that's a little bizarre.
That's bizarre even for a street kid. Like, what, he didn't move when he died. At all.
That is extremely strange. Considering he would have had to have moved around to hit all of the cut points anyway.
I believe it is possible that whoever was intruding killed Roderick. They might have used some kind of spell to bind him.
Or force him unconscious.
How drunk was he last night, Galen?
Oh, he was pissed drunk.
So it wouldn't have been hard.
No, the last thing he said to me before heading to his room is he needed to get to his room before he was sick.
This... Alright.
There is one other thing.
I'm enjoying watching Galen figure out what his accent's gonna be.
Yeah. I know it's so hard. I keep trying to be consistent and then we stop talking.
Here, I'll solve the question for you. Russian, go.
Da.
It seems like you're leaning towards that recently anyway, so I'm just gonna tell you. Yeah.
Da.
Do you
Yeah.
think he could have been sick from too much alcohol, or do you think it would be possible that someone might have poisoned him?
If that were the case,
We'd all be
wouldn't
sick.
we all be sick? We were all drinking from the same pitcher.
We were drinking from the same pitcher, but we all had different mugs. There are quite a lot of potions that can, or poisons that can paralyze, so perhaps his feeling sick was from something like that?
Possibly.
Something only in his mug. I'm still trying to figure out what a Skelt accent for an elf would be like.
I'll tell you right now, Skelt is a mining town, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what where most of the settlement in the United States came from in terms of like the mining boom and like blue collar fucking labor?
No.
Midwest.
Midwestern
accent.
Me from the Midwest. The Midwest has an accent?
Yes.
She says as she goes, the Midwest has an accent? Like, fucking...
No way! No.
I do love you, dear. You do have a bit of that accent.
Well, goddamn, I did not know that I had an accent. Like,
It's not that bad. They're over-exaggerating it, but you do have a bit of an you do not.
I did grow up in Chicago. I guess that's fair.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking
You
more
don't
like
notice
I'm thinking
it
more
when
like
it's here.
I'm thinking more like Wisconsin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Don't say it. No. It's not the time for the TikTok reference.
But anyway,
I have a out of roleplay question for Blake.
What's up, babe?
How, because there's no like necessary evil races, which I'm totally on board with. How does
There-
detect evil?
Because
work?
there are evil people.
Okay.
People can have an
What?
alignment. An individual, like a person, has
Oh,
like
wrong
whether
button.
or not they are evil. The thing that I rail against is Pathfinder, and D&D does this too, where Pathfinder and D&D are like, this race is all evil. You know what I
So
mean?
would it? Okay. I wanted to have a knowledge.
So
of
detect
that
evil.
first.
Detect evil would let you know if an individual is an evil individual. If you happen to cast it when you were surrounded by orcs, probably like 80 to 90% of them would ping. But like,
Does the aura of the evilness like linger?
no.
Like if I cast it, okay.
It is
will make a note.
detect evil is very specifically like, is this object or this person evil? The only time that you would expect like detect evil to like leave a lingering aura is like real evil. Like I don't know how familiar you are with like Galarian, but like if the Whispering Tyrant had stayed in this hotel room, there might be like a lingering evil trait. In Lord of the
Kind of
Rings.
excessive.
In Lord of the Rings, like, if Sauron had walked through a place a week ago, maybe there was a lingering level of
Yeah. No. Okay. Okay. I wanted to clarify that for myself.
You're saying we're not fighting that? We're not forcing that evil right this exact second at level 1?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
So yeah,
Believe Trass and Galen will be going out to investigate the thing outside.
Indeed.
you get outside. No one really bothers you. As you get out there, you realize, on the floor, Galen, you with your ranger training quickly pick this up. There are tracks. Like, someone landed hard here, and then ran really fast onto the city streets.
Did a superhero landing.
And you also find some shards of broken glass. However, you quickly piece them together. The window wasn't broken. This seems like it was like a vial of some sort that had shattered.
Like when they hit the ground.
Well, when the vial hit the ground. You don't know what situation led to the vial hitting the floor, but it was a glass bottle that hit the ground hard and broke.
Mm-hmm.
Does it look like there's any like liquid on it or around it? Like other than just like mud.
Perception check.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a 2 plus 4, that is a 6.
No, you have no idea.
Yeah, all right. I will still like generally like say, Galen, should we I think we should bring this up if this could be if this is a vial or a potion of some sort. There might be a way that we can tell if it's what the potion or vial was. Be it the paralytic, maybe something for invisibility or anything like that. I think we should probably take it with us, but just be very careful not to cut yourself. And is there anything around that we like cloth or something that we could easily gain access to?
Yeah, there's like, old bags that people would have brought potatoes in that you could just like rip a square canvas from.
Yeah,
Cham
we'll
might
use
like
that.
Cham might be like a little mad at you, like, hey, what the fuck, man? But like that's
I don't think she's in a position to really be upset about that right now.
yeah.
She might be distracted by other emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But later, like few
Later,
months
she
from
might get
now,
at you later
what
for
the
it, but for
fuck?
now, yeah, for now, what you got to do.
Yeah. So Trust will very carefully making sure to cover her hands with the
Canvas.
canvas, pick up the shards and gather them in like a small bag and like hold it from the top, well, with the glass pieces inside of it.
Okay.
And we'll absolutely take it to Scary, because if it is a vial of like a potion or alchemical stuff, which seems to be a fucking common thing so far, would be the best person would probably be Scary for that. Elk.
Scari, Crystalia, Fenris, you guys are still in the room looking over Roderick's death scene when the two of them return. They're carrying a small bag of canvas.
Trask will say, Galen noticed some glass and like someone landed here. Someone landed outside the window. Someone jumped from a high place. Almost definitely this window. And there's some glass, not from the window, but from something shattered. And it's just sort of like brings it sort of towards Scary and opens up the canvas and like I tried my best to keep it like together. Do you know if this is for some potion or something?
Scari, would you like to make a craft alchemy check for me?
Yes.
I think that you said that in character.
I slip into it sometimes.
Because the character personality is you.
Oh, so bottom.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like it's that far off of Ash either. Just
Fair.
gremlin
Like-
sounds. Just gremlin sounds.
The normally timid person, you know, you're being asked to do something that you're good at. So of course you're excited to do it, you know? Makes sense.
Yeah.
$29.
Holy shit! What a roll!
For a bottom, you can roll well.
Oh, hello.
You keep making these amazing rolls. Right at the end of the episode. All right, next time we're gonna go ahead and go over what you guys find. And thank you so much.
Go
This has been a lot of
Cliffhanger!
fun.
Are you going
Yeah, this was
to
a ton of
every
fun.
episode with a 9:30 or
Well,
is it
actually,
just a today thing?
I'll be right back, viewers in chat. Stand by.